Well, hello again, and it has been raining again all day. I just can't get over this spring. I have never seen so much rain during a spring in Arkansas yet, but it has done wonders for the old radishes. And the tomato plants are popping up really strong. I'm even starting to get a couple flowered blooms on. I need to pluck those off, actually. When you have tomato plants that are growing like that and they put out blooms a little bit too early, because the plant, should be up at least another foot. Pluck those things off, because what happens is the plant puts all of its energy into the tomato, trying to form a tomato there, and it takes it away from the rest of the plant. And don't let your lower leaves get into the dirt. If the lower leaves on the plant touch the dirt, you got a good chance of picking up disease. Just reach down and pluck them off. Like I got one right here. The rain is beat down a little bit. I'll just reach down there and just pluck both of them off with my hand. Just like that. Just keep them from touching the dirt. Let's get out to the T-bird. In the last video, I guess it was part 45, you'll remember that I was having trouble, and I'm still having trouble getting this horizontal bar that's attached to the upper control arm. I'm having trouble getting it off these two studs here. It just seems to be welded on. The nuts are off and it just doesn't want to come off. So I had to come up with some kind of an idea. I've tried several things and they're not quite working, but I do have at least two more. I want to try those today. I also got a comment from another Thunderbird owner that's tearing his front end apart, and he said he's having the same problem. He cannot get that bar to pop loose, crack loose off those studs. He said if he figures it out, he said he'd get back with me. Well, I haven't heard from him, so apparently he doesn't have success yet, or he just hasn't got around to it. So I came up with another one of my brilliant ideas, one of two, as I said. I went down to O'Reilly's. The bottom line is, if you take off a tie rod end, you use a wedged bar, a fork that's wedged. Same thing for the upper and lower ball joints. It spreads things apart, the wedge does. So I've got essentially the same problem here. I need a wedge. If I can get a wedge behind the bar, up close to the studs, and then hammer on it, I should be able to crack it off, crack it loose. If the holes are not threaded. Now, Brendan has assured me that the holes are not threaded, and I have to admit, I've never seen them threaded before, but you never know what you're going to find in this Thunderbird. So, I went down to O'Reilly's and I picked up this cold chisel, a big one. I have chisels, but nothing quite that big. And I'm going to take that baby, and we're going to wedge it up between the body. Actually, it's not the body. There's actually a bracket. If you see that thing is sitting in the center of a bracket. There's the top lip right there. And if I can get it between the front of the bracket and the back of that horizontal rod up close and then hammer on it, I might be able to, force it forward enough to come loose off that stud. Let me get the chisel in place. Alright, I tapped her down in there in place, and I've got the old big mammy jammy hammer here. I'm just going to start slam dunking on that thing and see what happens. For once, I actually get to hit it hard. Then I'll hit it in the front, which will force the top back toward the fender and hopefully push out the left side, at least get it loose. I don't expect it to come all the way out because the bolt on the right hand side up there is still jammed. But I'd like to get it to come loose just a little bit. So I'll hammer it straight down. And then when I get it down in deep enough, I'll hit it on the front, which will jam it back that way, and hopefully force the horizontal rod this way. Then I'll move it over and do it to the other side. Wish me luck. If that doesn't work, matter of fact, I just thought up another plan, so I've got two more plans. We're still in the ball game, guys. Well, we have zeroed out completely. That thing did not budge. I tried 2 or 3 different ways. I added a second wedge to help it. Didn't do a bit of good. So I'm working on the other side right now on the bolt head itself. Well, fortunately, it didn't take as much heat as I would have expected. I just didn't want to be burning, getting that hot that bolt so hot that it would burn off the paint around the head of the bolt and start burning, or the paint on the inside of the fender well here. I didn't want to do that on the inside of the engine compartment, so it is budged loose. So let me see if I can budge it a little bit more. Boy, she does not want to move at all, but she is moving. It takes both hands, actually. Well, once I got the bolt heads loose, I got the front one loose and I got the back one loose using these 2 wrenches right here, and a lot of patience and a bunch of other stuff. some spray and a few other things. But I finally got the bolt heads to turn back and forth. I didn't have to get them all the way around. I just needed to I got them so I could rock them back and forth. And the back one was a little bit more difficult than the front, but they still rocked back and forth with the wrench, okay? Then we came back down south here. Let me see. And I said, look, I still could not get that thing to come loose no matter what I did. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, let's go back to my thinking the opposite again. I raised the control arm all the way up as far as it would go, and I took let me get this thing. I took my little ball, tie rod end removal tool that I use for the ball joints also, and I went up underneath here like that, right there where the right underneath that bar, and I began to hammer with the big old sludge. And guess what? She's come out. There's not that much holding her anymore. See, there's only a few threads. We still have a battle ahead, but we're way ahead. So let me go ahead and pull it back down, see if I can't. I may have to go up, down, and bang it from the top, bang it from the bottom. But I think what I'll do is I'll keep using this tool here, and maybe even that cold chisel. I'm going to need that cold chisel, I think, on the other side anyway. If the ball joint hasn't been replaced, I'll have to knock off those rivet heads. So let me keep working on it. Hopefully in the next few minutes I can head to the house and get a cup of coffee. Alright, after a few more minutes of messing around, up, down, I took my little pry bar here that I have. It's a little hooked pry bar. And I just stuck it up there between that backing plate and that rod. And I pulled upward, and it's all but off. So I think I can do the rest by hand. It's moving real easy now. Hopefully in the next segment you'll see it on the floor. And I always keep my promises. Okay, there were no threads in the center, as I hoped, and like I said, I have never seen them with threads, but you never know. Anyway, good to go now. All I got to do is clean her up, remove the ball joint, and we'll do that. I'm just going to call it a day. I'm pretty tired. This has been quite a tussle, but at least she's out. I just hope I don't have the same mess on the other side, which I know I'm going to have. I just know it. But next time I think it'll be a whole lot easier, okay? But it took a lot. You can see it's nice and wet. It took a lot of, a lot of that PB blaster rust. What do they call it? Let me see. My memory sucks. Penetrating catalyst is what they call it. Penetrating oil. And it took quite a bit of that. Don't be afraid to use it, okay? It's cheap. Buy it at Lowe's or buy whatever you want. Liquid wrench. It doesn't matter. But just, don't spare the horses when it comes to using that stuff. In the long run, it'll pay off. So there you go. I think what I might do is I might put this up as a real quick short video, because there's another feller out there who would like to see how to get his off. I don't know if he's going to or not. He may already have it off, but I think I'll upload this real quick and then we'll just shoot on to number, let me see, this will be part 46. We'll just shoot on to part 47. And more rain is on the way. Until next time, this is John.